PD Beats here from Pop Turner. This week to Michelle Morgan about season 17 of Heartland on CBC and CBC Gem. Welcome to the show. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I mean, you just celebrated 250 episodes of Heartland, which is wild in a lot of ways. I mean, it's so crazy to think about how many episodes there's been already. I mean, you look, season 17, you think about that, but then you think about the amount of episodes, like it's 250 is like so many episodes, right?
It is a historic number, but for me, like as an actor and a director, I just have to keep coming at every episode like it's the first one, and like coming at it with the same passion and the same storytelling and the creativity. Like for me, the numbers don't really matter.
For 17 seasons, yeah.
Yeah, like, but it doesn't matter if it's season 1 or season 17. Like you have to come at it with the same amount of passion and the same, you know what I mean? Like,
well, I feel like that kind of keeps it, like it keeps it fresh, and it keeps it kind of like grounded in a lot of ways with that perspective.
Like as a creative person, I try to keep, of course, like I have to think about money because we all have to think about money,
yes,
but I try not to think too much about numbers in general, like my weight, my age, my, like these numbers that we prescribe. Like I just try to keep those out of my life a little bit.
100%. No, that's really interesting. And you look at a show like Heartland, and you look at, there's been so many kind of storylines, and one of the things I think I really love about the show, and I feel like a lot of people from all around the world love about Heartland, specifically Michelle, is it focuses on a lot of different kind of themes. It's obviously focused on relationships and self-reflection, everything. During the pandemic, we did a lot of self-reflection because we had the time to do so. Do you feel like the pandemic, because everyone was on the kind of equal playing field in a lot of ways, thinking about life and everything, do you think that kind of hit hard and like kind of made Heartland more relatable in a lot of ways? Did you think about that at all? I'm curious about that.
I do think that with the pandemic, people got sensitive, people got overwhelmed. Mm-hmm. And I think that Heartland was a great show for people dealing with pandemic trauma. And because we do try to deal with real life issues. There's divorce, there's death, there's heartbreak. We do try to deal with real issues, but we deal with it in a way that's not traumatizing. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the episode, I guarantee you, if you look, there's always a hug. Yeah. There's always like a coming back to the family. There's always a coming back to what really matters. I think at the end of every episode, we don't resolve everything per se, but we try to come back to what really matters. So I have talked to a lot of people. I know a lot of people, a lot of fans have written to me that when they're going through a hard time, like the pandemic or a breakup or cancer, yes, it's one of the only shows that they can watch because they trust it, that it's going to kind of take care of them.
100%. And, I feel like the timelines are a little different sometimes, maybe like in terms of like a new season of Heartland. It's been 17 seasons, but like, is the process overall similar in terms of when you get the scripts? Like sometimes do you get the scripts more in advance, like one season compared to other season? Like how much preparation is able to be done, so to speak?
It's always about the same. Yeah. Like honestly, it's never that far in advance, because really like every new season, I think they start breaking the stories and coming up with the storylines, like let's say January, and then we start filming in May, and they give us the script like a week ahead of time. And it's always pretty much been that way.
I feel like some people
pretty common.
But like I feel like some people don't realize sometimes. So like I feel like there's so many times when I first started doing this, I've been doing this for a while now, but I would ask questions that would basically like be very like it would depend, or like I would just assume that someone would get like the whole scripts, right? They were on like 3 episodes of a show, and they were like, "No, I just got my episodes." You know what I mean? It's like you learn from asking questions.
Totally. And we only get like, so if we do 10 episodes, sometimes we've done 18. Yep. We get the 2 scripts we're working on at a time. So we get 2 scripts, we're shooting those about a week before we're starting the next 2, we get those 2. So we get them as they come.
A Canadian show on CBC originally, obviously then kind of the family of Heartland kind of expanded globally, where it got kind of put on other platforms around the world, and there's been fans from all around the world. And I think that is just the coolest thing about this show, is this is not only is it such a passionate fan base, but I love how global the fan base is.
Yeah. I mean, I was somehow chatting with someone online, a fan who had a fan account for me. And she was sort of starting a kind of unofficial Michelle Morgan fan club. And I was like, "Where are you from?" She was from Tasmania.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like it really is a show that goes all across the world. We
I
have
know you said you're not a numbers person, but you'd be very interested to see if it like broke down, like the all where everything was coming from. That's what it's
all the
doing.
numbers.
Look at the numbers.
There are numbers floating around. You could Google. It's like in the like 120 or
So those are
150.
the numbers that we're interested in, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, totally. Okay. I'll go with those numbers.
No,
Yeah.
it's a special thing, and the fact that it's been able to stick with people through those tough times, like you said, kind of at the end of an episode, like it deals with a lot of important and very sensitive issues, but then it's a warm hug at the end. The fact that it's been able to kind of be there for people when they need it the most, is that one of the best things about being part of Heartland, specifically that kind of aspect of it?
I mean, for me personally, the best thing is the creativity. Like I'm an artist, I'm an actor, I'm a director. So the best thing is that it's the kind of show which is super unique. And when you talk to people in the film industry, we have elements of comedy, we have drama, we have romance, we have action, a lot of action. So we kind of have a bit of everything. And then even cinematically, we experiment with different types of camera work. You know what I mean? Like it's not the kind of show that is very specific. It only, like if you watch The Office, it's all handheld.
Yes.
And that's how they film it. And that's it. And if you do something different, it's kind of like, whoa, you're really taking them out of the office world. We do handheld, but we also do big sweeping crane shots. And so for me as an artist, it's been really creatively fulfilling.
Yeah, 100%. Does the mindset change whether it's behind the camera, in front of the camera, or is it all storytelling for Michelle Morgan?
No, it changes for sure. Like, especially because as a character, I might be going through something really dramatic or really hard or whatever, or really wonderful. But as a director, I had another director kind of explain it to me, Chris Potter, actually, who said, when you're directing, it's really like a high energy, like heady. Like because you're always thinking like there's like a million different things you have to keep in mind, and people are asking you questions from all sides, and it's very like up here. But when you're acting, you have to be really grounded. So you have to sort of like change gears, take a deep breath, ground yourself so that you can be in the moment and be engaged and not be a million places. But I do them both at the same time. So it's a challenge. It's a fun challenge though.
When you first play this character, when you first played Lou, I feel like that's always going to be something kind of special and unique and a little kind of overwhelming because, you've never played this character before. And I feel like every time that happens, there's all these questions and it's like, no one's ever met this character before, right? When would you say you started really, getting to know or feel comfortable with this character? Was it like pretty quick? Was it like 4 or 5 seasons down the road? Like, I'm curious about that.
No, I wasn't super comfortable right away. Like I felt like I found a groove, but I don't think it's actually ever really good for an actor to be completely comfortable. I think there should be a level of discomfort where you're like just wanting to go deeper, wanting to question more. Like I think if you walk in and you're too comfortable, I don't think you're going to do your best work personally. But I would say around season 5, 6 is when I really was like, okay, I've got my groove with this. Yeah.
We obviously can't go
wow.
Yeah, no, I feel like it's interesting. I honestly feel like that is such a, because I'm also creative as well. I just wrapped a short film that I produced and I wrote as well. And like, I just feel like when you see these characters, like for the first time on a screen, I feel like it's so interesting, but overwhelming because you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. And you don't know who they are yet. And
100%.
the actor is still figuring that out too, right?
Yeah. So I actually find that sounds pretty accurate though, like 4 or 5 seasons, 6 seasons. That definitely, because I feel like, especially with a show like this that has a lot of characters and a lot of things that happen, you know what I mean? There might be certain seasons where, there's something that specifically, like I'm thinking even later on though, I'm thinking like, season 10, 12, like there was a lot of stuff with Lou, you know what I mean? Like I'm thinking of, it can change your perspective of this character from a storytelling perspective.
And it's also like, I came from a comedy background.
Yep.
I did like sketch comedy and improv. And so I was always looking for excuses to bring that into the show and to like play the comedy. And they loved that and they wrote for that, but they also didn't want me to overdo it. So like, I was always trying to like find that fine line. And I think sometimes I maybe pushed it a little too far, and because it has to stay real, like everything in Heartland, that's sort of the rule. Like Amy, I mean, can be amazing with horses and have this magic touch, but it's not actually magic. Like, it has to stay real. And Lou can be kind of zany and all out there and blah, blah, blah. And it's really funny, but it still has to stay grounded in like what she actually is doing in reality. So that was always like tricky for me. I think I've found that sweet spot, but it took a while.
100%. Did you do stand-up comedy, or was it mostly improv troupe comedy?
Not stand-up. No, I did improv and then sketch comedy. So I would like play characters. You know what I mean? Like, I've never actually stood up on stage and was like, hey, I'm Michelle Morgan.
I feel like stand-up comedy is just a whole beast on its own. I have interviewed people that have done it before, and I feel like it's just.
I have tons of respect for. I have a lot of stand-up friends, and I have a lot of respect for it. But it's not acting. It is, I guess, in a way, because sometimes they play a character for sure.
Yeah,
but
there's a persona. Yeah, absolutely.
But they're also very much exposing themselves, and they are, unless you're doing it as a character, you're talking as yourself. And actors never do that. We always have the character, right? Like 100%. It's like a shield.
100%. When a new episode of Heartland gets out there to the world, or gets out there in Canada on CBC, that's an event. The announcements, though, before the show is out also become an event in a lot of ways. When a trailer comes out, when a teaser comes out, when we finally have a release date. I always found that pretty interesting, because it's like the event before the event. It's like the calm before the storm. You know what I mean? A little bit. Have you ever thought about that at all? Where like when an announcement comes out, it's like a big deal, but the show's not even out yet. But everyone's so excited that we finally have some kind of announcement that we're getting more Heartland. Like, I find that's a really kind of cool thing from a communal standpoint.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, our fans are amazing, and they're excited, and they're waiting. Like, as soon as I post something online, I see our fans reacting right away. So that's another reason the show's gone so long, is that we have like a super supportive fan base, and they're really hungry for new episodes, new trailers, new everything.
What's it like returning for an episode of Heartland? Like, seeing everyone again? Like, I mean, is it usually kind of the same amount? With the pandemic, I know it was a little different, but like, is it usually like, it's like you haven't seen people in a year? Like, what's that like specifically, like returning?
I mean, every year is a little different, some years people have changed more than others. Like, but in general, it's fun and it's exciting. Like, a lot of these people are my close friends, and I like don't see them throughout the whole year, and so I'm just happy to catch up and chat. It's awesome, actually. I always love going back and seeing everyone.
When you ask certain fans of Heartland what they like the most about the show, they're probably going to have different answers. Some people love the relationships, some people love the storylines. The horses, absolutely. What is your favorite part? What is Michelle Morgan's favorite part of Heartland?
Yeah, good question. Oh man, I think it really depends on the episode. One favorite part, I think if I had to answer that, it's hard to, but I think it would just be the family dynamic. Like, I think that's my favorite part. I think like having grumpy, like, let's go Tim walk in and stir up the pot, and Lou has her agenda, and Amy's just trying to deal with the horses and grandpa's thing and the kids. Like that, I think that family dynamic for sure is my favorite part about the show. 100%.
And episodes of season 17 of Heartland are rolling out on CBC and CBC Gem, so they can check that out. Michelle, so great chatting with you. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Awesome. This is so fun.
Appreciate that. And Instagram is the best way for people to keep up to date with everything, right? Is it just your name? Is it just Michelle Morgan?
It's Michelle Morgan _.
Awesome. And there's the Heartland Instagram account is pretty active as well. There's always cool stuff on that too, so they could check that out. Awesome. Well, this has been Pop Turn. youtube.com/PopTurn for previous episodes. Till next time, this is Michelle Morgan. We can catch in season 17 of Heartland on CBC and CBC Gem. And PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popturnative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popturnative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.